Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Talk of the Town podcast, where each week we bring you valuable insight and information that directly affects our local business community. I'm Danielle Hawley, and I'm the executive director of the best chamber of commerce around, the Fontana Chamber of Commerce. And I'm proud to bring you our Talk of the Town podcast with my amazing co-host, Mr. Carlos Garcia of FYI Technologies. Carlos, how you doing this week?
Fantastic. Looking forward to today's show, Danielle.
Same. I love it. Well, this week we have a special treat for you. We have Angel Echeverria and Jazmin Martinez from Final Touch Construction. Ladies, welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you. I know this has been a long time coming.
Definitely. Yeah, no, we're super excited to be here. I know, when we last spoke, it was over a quick lunch that we had, and we love to, finally get to this point where we're, joining you in the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Well, before we jump in to Final Touch and what you ladies do, I want you to start off by telling us a little bit about you. Who are you personally? And then we'll shift gears and we'll talk about what you do within the trades.
Awesome. Yeah. So
you go.
All right, well, I'm Jazmin Martinez, as you all know. I mean, so me and Angel are pretty close. I would say we've gone from friends to best friends to pretty much now we're kind of like blood sisters. We're like this. So I am 28 years old. I was born in Mexico, brought here when I was very young. I was maybe around 5. Obviously grew up here. I grew up in the Inland Empire. So I, growing up and coming here, learning a different language, becoming, I think, excelling in it. And now, just for the most part, I'm just, trying my best with what I do, both professionally and with my family. I'm a huge family-oriented person. So yeah, everything that has to do with the ranch, and then it's a mixture of both, city girl as well. But that's a little bit about me.
So your family has a ranch?
So my boyfriend does.
Okay.
So yeah, I think I could say I have the best of both worlds. I, live the business city life, and then here and there I get to escape out in the country.
I love it.
Yeah, so much fun.
Yeah. So my name is Angelica. Everybody calls me Angel. I'm 28 years old, gonna be 29 this year. I'm the oldest of all of my siblings. I think there's like 6 of us. I have a nephew who's gonna be 1 in July. I have a niece who just turned 1, and then I have a niece on the way. They take up a good bulk of, family time, and they're just the best little people to be around. I have 2 puppies, mini dachshunds. That's my favorite breed right now. So those 2 keep me very, very busy. I like boating and camping and being outdoors and hanging out with my family. I was born in Pomona, raised in Fontana, moved here when I was in the 6th grade, and my family's just always been in Fontana. Parents moved away for a little while, came right back. So yeah, Fontana is.
And I love your family. I want to talk about your family for a moment because that is the bridge here to the chamber.
Yeah.
But your dad owns Final Touch Construction, and he's a general contractor, but I know you guys specialize in roofing. And so if you need someone to do your repairs and all of that for your home remodel, he's got you covered. But I know the specialty is roofing. And we're going to have Luis on anyhow. He's a board member here, Luis Echeverria, at the Fontana Chamber of Commerce, but he is tied up right now. And so he is frantically working and doing an amazing job, by the way, making sure that Stage Red comes together by its completion date for the big launch with Sammy Hagar's concert coming up on the 15th. And so we're going to have him on later to talk about that entire journey, because he is literally a miracle worker. So I know you girls have been holding down the fort at the office, but I want to transition now, and I want to talk about how you found your way into what you're doing now. I know you're heavily involved in the roofing industry and a member of organizations. Let's talk about that.
So yes, so my dad founded Final Touch Construction in 2009. And I started, gosh, I want to say 20, I don't even know how old I was. I was 21. So 7 years ago, I've been doing this for the last 7, almost 8 years. And he started me off on our home computer, looking up how to pull permits for roofing and how to make sure that material was SRI rated, which is a pool roof compliant material, and how to pull permits and, schedule inspections. And then slowly we just started growing the business from there. And we purchased our first storefront, and that was on Foothill. And then we quickly outgrew that, purchased a home that we ran the office out of on Arrow, and quickly outgrew that as well. And now we're here back on Foothill in another commercial / residential property. And yeah, so I've done every position possible except for estimators. So we have, our front of office help. We have our permit techs. We have our roofing project managers, our renovation project managers, project coordinators. There's so many different variables and hands that, help us. And so from there, I was in school and I found Jazmin and we became instant friends, instant besties. And, she was always really good at selling things and talking. And, so she was working at Red Wings. I told my dad, hey, my friend, she works at Red Wings, like you and my brother should go and get some boots, maybe look into that. That'll be the guy's Christmas gift, something like that. So he comes back like an hour and a half later and he says, I want that girl to work for me. So I was like, okay, let me see what I can do. So I did. I went over and we had this long conversation. Both her and I were in college and, going the medical route. And, it was a lot of time and money and we had put so much into it already. And then one day we were just like, well, for myself, I was like, this is working. I'm not gonna script the good thing that I have here. So I'm going to put all of my eggs in this basket and I'm going to just go full throttle. And now I'm in the finance and QuickBooks accounting department, and Jazmin has taken over roofing for me.
Yeah. Yes. Official into the last, maybe friend over going like 10 years now, quite some time. But so yeah, that's in a nutshell how I got myself into the industry. So it was down the street here in Sierra and Arrow, I believe, that there's that Red Wings, right? All construction workers go there. So I do remember that day where Luis walked in, and that day we were short staffed. So it was just me and my other coworker. And I mean, I genuinely just, did my job of, serving our community. Cause, I've been here in Fontana for maybe the past almost 10 years as well. And I would say that, they would come in, and that day Luis came in, little short, like I would say maybe not even a week. She calls me and says, hey, my dad wants you to work for us. And I was like, okay, what does he do?
What am I getting myself into?
I know, yeah. So, and oddly enough, I was going into, I was training to become an RN. I had gotten my license. I became a licensed EMT. So so I'm a licensed EMT. I got my, CPR, my license, I kind of pretty much was ready to go applying for AMR in Rancho. And so that week I was like, we graduated college. I was pretty much ready to go pursuing that nursing career that, as a little girl, you always dreamed of, I want to be a nurse. So so I went in to talk to Luis. And if you know Luis, he's an amazing person.
Yes.
So he said, hey, there's this position that, at that time it was Angelica that was running the department. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I was like, I'm just gonna try it out. I'm gonna work with my best friend. What can go wrong?
She was finally gonna get weekends off.
I was finally gonna get weekends off. Yeah, I was finally gonna get weekends off. And so yeah, I mean, I told Luis, he sat me down and said, hey, I'm sure he saw things that I didn't see at the time. And yeah, I told him I know nothing of construction. I don't know what a measuring tape is. Nothing. I had no idea the industry that I was, about to, throw myself fully into. So I let myself kind of fully, I was a sponge. I was with Luis 24/7 for maybe about a year. And slowly I then realized, which, like I said, I know we spend most of our time going into, for me, and we both did, wanting to go into the medical field. Being licensed as an EMT, I was just like, you know what? I found a community, a friendship that for me, spoke volumes in regards to, now going into the business in construction and how the magnitude that it really is. So I told my friend, I was like, okay. And then, that's how I got into construction. And again, it just kind of
found you.
It really did.
I feel like that happens. Sometimes, I went to school to be a teacher and I taught for 8 years, got the master's, the credentials. I'm not doing that anymore. But it's good because all of that experience that you've gained doing other things factors into what you're doing now, right? Like nothing's wasted. And I think, doors just tend to open and you find yourself where you're supposed to be. But you're right. Luis does have a way of doing that. I mean, how do you say no to Luis? He's such a great guy. But I think this is just such a specific industry. So tell me again, what are your official titles now within the company?
So I'm the administrative manager. Okay. So I do all of payroll and QuickBooks and all of that side of things.
Okay.
And so I'm the project manager, the lead in our roofing department. So I manage production, material, everything you can think of over your roof. I control for the most part. So that's in a nutshell. I mean, yes, project manager, but in a sense, running the department itself is my main role.
And how many women are in the office with you doing what you do?
See, there's 1, 2, 3.
I'd say around.
There's like majority women. Yeah. There's like 6 of us in here.
It's easier to count the men than the women.
I'm sorry, including my dad, there's 4. So women we're the majority here. And it definitely shows when you walk in.
I love it. So let's talk about that.
Tell us, okay, so obviously construction has always been a male-dominated world, right? When you hear construction, it's always guys, boots, all that good stuff. But for you guys, what's it like being a woman in this quote-unquote dominated industry?
It was challenging at first, to say the least, dealing with inspectors over the phone who sometimes aren't the happiest people. They would get a little snappy, or you don't know what you're talking about. Like, is there a man that I can speak to? Like, no, sir, you're speaking to the manager. I'm the manager. I was
Buck stops here, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. So we have to be, on our P's and Q's. We have to know what we're talking about, because otherwise
you'll get ran over.
You'll get ran over. You'll get things mansplained to you, and it's like, I know what I'm talking about. I know the system. I know the process. I know, the business. So it was challenging, but so rewarding. When you finally got, that, oh, this girl does know what she's talking about. It was like instant gratification. I've been doing this for X amount of years, and to see people, like, especially men, understand and really be like, you know what, you can have a seat at the table. That was
serious, right? You've earned your keep with that. Yeah. That's
cool. Yeah. And I would add to that, just myself, right? You kind of talk to men every day, all day. From the lead foreman to the crew out in the door, out in the field, to who you're ordering material from. So I would say definitely, at least for me, being a woman and kind of excelling in what we do in construction, and I've sat down when I first started, like I just said, I told Luis, hey, I don't know what a measuring tape is, right? I don't know what a nail is. What is this about, drip edge, right? So I think as a woman, you kind of take a back seat in such intimidating roles, I guess you can say. But I learned to ask questions, and sit and listen, really understand, because for men, it's pretty straightforward. You get there, you get the job done. But I really looked up to some senior foremen that I'm like, hey, I need your help. I wasn't intimidated by asking questions, no matter how grumpy they could be times, no matter how intimidating the male presence can, no one talks to that guy because he doesn't want to be asked questions. And really learning how to navigate and communicate. I think that was one thing that I learned with any man and in any industry, really, is communicating and learning how to put my point across without being disrespectful, because men could be a little dramatic.
Hey now, not everybody.
Carlos.
When it comes to
I feel like I should hide at this moment. I don't know.
It's more of a, you talk about the ego, right? And you don't want to burst anyone's ego. And even with my own, and it's one of those things where they're like, well, what are you doing here, right? Like, you're a girl. She's seen me. I've been on roofs. They sometimes come in and say, you just sit there, right? But a lot of the behind the scenes and really showing the, your presence as a woman. Hey, I'm gonna put on my boots.
Yeah. And
get on that ladder and see if the job's being done right. Although maybe I don't do it right. And it's not something that I do as a craft. What my craft is pointing out and correcting things and making sure things are in order. So definitely learning, I think getting that backbone at the when you first start could be a little intimidating, but once you got it, then you're mandating a couple jobs and the guys still listen to you.
Yeah.
So
I will say though that even though it's been an industry like that, it has changed a lot, because I've seen a lot of women actually hands-on in construction. For me, I will be the first one to tell you, I wouldn't put anything together in construction. I would just blow it up, and then it would cost me even more. But I've seen also I've seen women working in the trenches, right, quote unquote, and they're awesome. You know what I mean? Sometimes I think sometimes they're better than the guys at times. You know what I mean? The work ethic and everything too. So
we can be very detail oriented and meticulous.
Yes, I think that's one thing we focus on.
Yeah, those are our strengths as women. And I can relate to this. And I think this is why when we were talking, I totally connected with you guys. And I think I've shared this before. My uncle had a public works contracting company. And so I was working with him and reading plans. I learned the same thing. I learned QuickBooks. I learned certified payroll. I learned how to read plans, how to order materials. And I remember going to these job walks and they're like, what is she doing here? It's like, oh no, I'm here like to bid the job, or, ask the questions or go to the supply house and order the materials, pick up the materials. I rolled down there with my truck and loaded up and got what we needed and got it to the guys. And so I totally recognize that and appreciate that. But I understand what you're talking about. You do get kind of the sideways look of, oh, sweetheart, are you lost? It's like, no.
And then on top of that, we're pretty small. We're 5 feet tall, So you see this, these little girls walking up, and we're both carrying a ladder, and
that's what you do.
We got to get it done. We got a deadline.
It's one time I do remember there was the guys were short on material, and Angel loves her trucks. And I said, friend, this job needs to be done tomorrow. They're short a couple shingles. She rolled her truck back into our yard. I was like, okay, look, both of you, the guys, can you guys help me put some shingles on there? They didn't think I could lift, but fun fact,
nails and all.
We love the gym, so 30-pound bundle. Maybe I could only do one, but we're trying our best, and so kind of that girl power, and friend, like let's get going,
let's get it done.
She rolls up with her truck. Hey boys, unload the material. Here it is. It'll be done by tomorrow. So just getting that job done, and like you said, getting sometimes stared at, but I'm like, you know what? Don't judge. I know we look cute with our boots. We get it. I know.
I love it though, but you're not afraid to just make it happen, get dirty, throw on the boots, like you said. And I think that's what it's all about. And so kudos to you for just being just such key players in this industry. One other thing I wanted to touch on, and this is kind of what we were talking about at our lunch. You're a part of a professional organization, right?
Yes.
Can we talk about that?
So the National Women in Roofing, I believe, I want to say it was established in LA, but I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. Don't come after me if anybody from National Women in Roofing is watching. So the way that we were connected with this community was actually through my dad and JB Roofing. So one of the ladies over there, you know, she was working closely with us and ordering material. She knew my dad, and she asked if we would be interested in donating to the Alexandria House shelter for battered women and children. And so it actually burned. And so there was, it was really sad. There was people living there. They were able to, you know, rehouse them temporarily. They got a bunch of contractors together. They had, you know, different manufacturers and material places donating materials, and then the contractors would donate their time. So we basically built this house back up from the ashes. It literally rose from the ashes. So we were the roofing contractor, JB Wholesale and Beacon, and, you know, a couple other material manufacturing companies or distributors donated, you know, all the materials. We donated our time, and that's how we got in contact with this amazing group of women. And this is national. This is, you know, national. So everybody comes together for the National Women in Roofing Convention in Las Vegas, and it's just, like I said, girl power. Like, you know, there's different seminars and there's different talks and just different ways to connect with other women in this industry that you don't. It was so big, like scale was amazing. It was so cool to see how many women are actually within this industry in our nation. You know, because we don't really see too many. We don't really come across, you know, female contractors, or, you know, so it was really cool to be, you know, with all of them under one roof and learning their stories.
And being part of this organization, you also get to give back to the community. So you know, Women in Nashville, we do meet, you know, yearly over in Vegas, or where the NRI, National Roofing Expo, NRE, wherever the NRE is hosted yearly. And, you know, the main goal is, especially even over here now, centered more on like home base. We tend to group together with all the women, and, like, for example, for prom, there was a prom dress. It's kind of like not necessarily a charity, but we all come together for a cause. You know, you have women that donate for this past one was for prom. So you know, the prom dress, makeup. So then we kind of all come together and kind of give back to the community. There was the Alexandria House, and those are just small steps that we're taking in that organization. You know, as National Women in Roofing, we kind of, it's cool because we meet like so many women that also work with distributors. And, you know, we all have our girl talks, but we all have our niches, right? Like, yeah, we do roofing, but, you know, we also like to get our hair done, and you know, it's a beautiful community that we're a part of.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I love it. Yeah. Real quick before we wrap up, what are your future goals and plans?
So to branch off of that, we're doing a charity roof. I think we did it a couple of times, and then my dad just kind of got busy, and it kind of got left in 2021. So we haven't given back to the community of Fontana in that sense in a little bit. And with National Women in Roofing and seeing all of, you know, the really amazing programs and charities that they donate to, was talking to Jazz about this recently, and I said, you know, we want to bring it back to home base. We want to bring it back to Fontana. It's great, you know, we help LA, we help Chino, we help, you know, with this National Women in Roofing, but we're not really doing anything for home, you know, right now. So something that I pitched to my dad, and he was like, yeah, like, you know, you guys organize it, you know, take it and run with it. was our holiday roof. So we want to see if there's somebody in the community who is in need of a roof, and we will donate, again, the materials, the time, and everything to give a family in need a roof before the holidays.
Wow, that's fantastic. And that's not cheap. That's a very expensive gift.
It's a generous gift, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, anywhere from 15 to 25 grand.
Wow, that's amazing.
So yeah, if anybody in the community knows a family in need, if they could nominate them, or if a family themselves wants to nominate themselves, that would be great. If they can send maybe a letter, you know, a couple paragraphs of why they need it, why they would, you know, be perfect for this.
And they would just send that directly to Final Touch Construction?
Yeah. We can do that. We do have our Instagram as well, where they can send that. Facebook, we have our Facebook, our Instagram. So those could be sent via, you know, message there. But that's something that I know we're striving for as one of our goals this year. And, you know, continuing to grow even that. So there's a branch that we're trying to open here in Fontana for all the girlies that can't go all the way to LA, down here in construction. So yeah, so essentially we want to start off, I think that's one of our other goals that we have together is most of the meetings are conducted mainly over in LA. So we want to bring, you know, for people that can't make it that far, they can always come down here to Fontana, our local restaurants, to have and go see this event. So that's another goal that me and Angel have as far as, you know, the business.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Taking ownership and, you know, future minded. You guys are just doing a phenomenal job. I know you're so busy. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules and everything you're managing to come and share with us all the amazing things that you guys are doing. And kudos, big shout out to Luis Echeverria, Final Touch Construction. We're going to have him on down the road once he gets through stage red. But ladies, keep up the amazing work. We love to see it. We love to just cheer you on. Keep it up. It's just really cool to hear you guys breaking through certain barriers and expectations or preconceived ideas that people might have about women in the trades. So keep it up. You guys are doing a great job. But thank you again, Angelica and Jazmin from Final Touch Construction. Once again, you guys, thank you for tuning in. We drop a new episode every Tuesday, Talk of the Town podcast. We are on all major streaming platforms, and we hope to see you next week. Thanks again for tuning in. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Danielle. Thanks, Carlos.
Thank you. Bye.